It started with a sudden, high-pitched scream. Not from me, but from my sister Esme. The sound sliced through the quiet apartment like a knife. "You are utterly selfish," she hissed, her voice dripping with venom. Her arms were crossed tightly over her chest, the posture of someone ready for a fight. On one hip, she balanced her toddler, a little boy who looked utterly confused. The other child, a baby, was wailing from the hallway, their cries echoing. The tension in the room. "You live here completely for free. The least you can do is help out," she continued her tirade, her words sharp and accusatory. I was at the kitchen counter, methodically chopping vegetables for dinner. The rhythmic thud of the knife on the cutting board was the only other sound. I didn't even look up at her. The silence I offered was a more powerful response than any words could be. "I pay the mortgage," Esme said, my voice. I walked out of the house for the last time with my duffel bag over my shoulder and a freshly brewed cup of coffee from a small cafe in a nearby street. The coffee cost $3.79, and it felt like the most expensive purchase I had ever made. Freedom never tasted so bitter or so right. It was a flavor of liberation mixed with sorrow. The first few weeks were a profound and eerie quiet. They didn't call, they didn't text. They didn't ask where I had gone. There was no thank you for the years I had silently paid their bills, as if it was my solemn duty. I found a small, cozy one-bedroom apartment in Boston, a place that was small, clean, and entirely mine. I cooked for one person, slept soundly through the night, and paid my own way through life. Then the texts started trickling in. The first was simple. "Wi-Fi is not working. You forgot to pay." The second was more urgent. "Mortgage is overdue. Are you sure you canceled it?" The third was a plea. "We need help just for a little bit." I didn't answer a single one of them. I just watched the unfolding drama from a distance, a silent spectator to the chaos I had been part of for so long. Then came the eviction notice. They couldn't keep up with the expenses anymore. It turned out that 2 kids, a job loss and no financial plan don't magically work themselves out. My dad, Mikhail, called me, his voice sounding desperate and broken. "They are losing the house," he said, his voice cracking. "Are you really going to just stand by and watch?" I said nothing, because I had been watching for years. I had watched them live off my paychecks and my hard work. I had watched them expertly twist guilt into currency and manipulate my emotions. I had watched them label me family only when they needed something from me. Now it was my turn to watch the consequence of their actions. But I did help, just not in the way they expected me to. I contacted the landlord and explained to him that I had been the silent, anonymous payer for years. I gave him meticulous documentation, including bank transfer receipts and account statements. I offered him a clean break, a hassle-free solution to sell the property. A week later, the house went on the market. 3 months after I had left, they were finally out. I ran into my sister Esme at a large grocery store in the suburbs of New York a few weeks later. She looked utterly exhausted. Her hair was unbrushed, and her phone screen was a spiderweb of cracks. Her baby was crying hysterically in the shopping cart. She didn't speak to me right away, her gaze fixed on the floor. Then she muttered, "You ruined everything," her voice barely a whisper. I took a deep breath and held her gaze. "No," I said, my voice firm and clear. "I just stopped fixing what you kept breaking." My parents now rent a small, cramped condo on the other side of town. Her husband moved back in with his parents in another state. And Esme, she couch surfs between her friends' places. There are no more lavish spa weekends, no more morning mimosas while I silently folded their laundry. Just the stark, unfiltered reality of their lives. It was never revenge. It was a deep, cleansing release. Sometimes I still think about that tiny attic space. Just me and the quiet silence. I remember the clicking of the old ceiling fan, my phone lighting up with their constant demands, my hands shaking as I drafted resignation emails, because I was working 2 stressful jobs just to support for people and 2 kids who didn't even know my name. Now I sit on my small balcony in peace, completely alone. There is no guilt, no noise, no demands. They called me selfish. But selfish is giving people just enough rope to see what they do with it. Turns out, they hung themselves. And all I did was let go of the rope. I stopped enabling their destructive behavior and chose my own peace.